My name's James Lockhart. I work at the Ostervar Group as a teaching and research assistant at the University of Hertfordshire, where I'm completing my part-time PhD on synthetic medicinal chemistry. The wide array of applications in terms of pharmaceutical science that are being done here, the applications and links to industry that we have, plus the University of Hertfordshire is investing. You can really see it in the campus. We've got new buildings. This building is barely 10 years old, I think. So it really you can tell that they're investing in their future, and that's something I wanted to be a part of. Dr. Ostervar, is a very, very talented synthetic medicinal chemist. When I got here as a teaching and research assistant, I had quite a few options in terms of picking the PhD. It wasn't as if the PhD came with the position. And out of all the academics who put in position, I think 10 of them put in, Dr. Ostervar's research proposal really just leaped out at me. It was a very solid proposal. It was interesting, a mixture of synthetic chemistry, medicinal chemistry, and also computational work that really seemed to go beyond just, can we synthesize this, and why are we synthesizing this for a purpose? Yeah, honestly, it's great. We just get on. The group is so supportive, and really, we're growing bigger, but it never seems to change the supportive element of it. Whenever someone is stuck on something, the group comes together in its entirety to try and fix it, which is very, it's nice to always have that to not fall back on, but it's nice to know that if you're ever stuck, there's help there. So the type of research that I'm involved in is synthetic medicinal chemistry. So a lot of designing and playing about with computational chemistry, very much to guide the synthetic work, so that we can really model things before we try them. But obviously, as with everything in computational chemistry, you need to actually get in the lab and do it. So I do a lot of synthesis work on small molecules. And then we are moving on to, in terms of my project, we're moving on to the stage where we're starting biological testing. So a lot of lab work, a lot of synthesis, and a lot of purification. So we do a lot of linear synthesis. So there's not a lot of difference between the steps that we are doing between molecule to molecule. So quite often purification, especially in terms of we'll run a TLC and the RF difference will be very, very small. To the point where manual chromatography, when I was doing it before we got the CombiFlash, was quite difficult. We really had to scale up just the amount of silica we used and also the amount of solvent that we used. So getting pure compounds, which is a requirement for the biological testing that we do, was really quite a challenge. The purification work we do, this has just sped everything up. So I do a lot of analog generation, and as I mentioned before, the difficulty in purification and separating compounds, especially when if you've got a difficult to separate compound and we're making slightly different analogues, you've then got 20 difficult to separate compounds. Quite often I'd be spending most of the morning, if not bit of the morning and afternoon, doing a manual column. Whereas with the CombiFlash, I've been able to do, I think my record at the moment is 8 in a day. Which and to be honest with you, the biggest challenge is finding enough test tubes to run the column. So that makes it a lot easier. So Teledyne has been a constant at institutions I've worked at before. They were constant at my undergrad, my postgrad work, and then when I was working as a technician. They have always been around, and realistically, especially as a tech, everything breaks. But the thing that really was a constant workhorse chugging away in the lab was the Teledyne. So, experience with the system, previous members of the group who have experience with the system as well, but also I've never known it to break down. So this machine we've been able to get through a Royal Society research grant related to my PhD work, which was also supported by the University of Hertfordshire's Centre for Research in Mechanisms of Disease and Drug Discovery. Also, our Teledyne rep, Bryna Harris, has been very, very helpful, especially in terms of helping us get the maximum amount out of that grant, so we can get the most bang for our buck, and also we can get chugging along as quickly as possible. It's really been helpful. Yeah, absolutely, I'd work with them again. They've been very supportive in terms of both, the reps coming out and helping out with everything, the willingness to work with us in terms of buying it, in terms of we've got this on a grant. Also in terms of getting, we're going to be using a lot of columns. Been very willing to work with us in terms of like a big order. Let's see what we can do. So yeah, no, very much would work with them again.